Hi everyone, welcome to part 1 of LoadRunner Lecture Series. The agenda of this session starts with introduction to LoadRunner, and then we'll learn about the history of LoadRunner. Once after completing that, we'll try to understand the key components of the LoadRunner, and once that is done, we'll move to the architecture part of the LoadRunner, and finally we'll do the LoadRunner in current version installation. So the current version of LoadRunner is 2024.3 version. Coming to introduction, we know that LoadRunner is one of the popular performance testing tool that is available in market today. And it is designed especially to evaluate the behavior and performance of the application under different load conditions. And initially it was developed by Mercury Interactive and now it is owned by OpenText company. And this particular LoadRunner tool will allow us to simulate the real user behavior, and also it will allow us to measure the application performance, and it is allow us to identify the bottlenecks. Let's try to understand the history of LoadRunner. The first version of LoadRunner was developed by Mercury Interactive and it is released in 1990s. And the purpose of this particular tool is to address the performance testing needs. In early 2000s, LoadRunner gained popularity as it underwent different significant changes, which includes the supporting of new protocols as well as advanced scripting capabilities. Because of this, it became a part of the Mercury's suite of testing tools. Later in 2006, HP company acquired this LoadRunner tool from Mercury and then it became HP LoadRunner. Under HP company, LoadRunner underwent significant improvements in terms of its usability, scalability, and in terms of its integration with other HP testing tools, especially like Quality Center. Under the transition stage in 2016, Micro Focus company acquired LoadRunner from HP Enterprise and they started investing more money on this in terms of development of this LoadRunner to incorporate the modern technologies and maintaining its relevance in the performance testing market. And recently in 2023, OpenText company acquired this LoadRunner from Micro Focus and now it is going to be called as OpenText LoadRunner. Let us try to understand the key components of LoadRunner. The first component is Virtual User Generator, which is also known as VUGen. The main purpose of this VUGen is to create the script that simulates the user interactions with the application. And the features of this particular VUGen is it supports various protocols and technologies which will enable us to create the performance test scripts for different types of applications such as web, mobile, as well as enterprise applications. And the second component that we need to know is controller. The purpose of the controller is to manage and execute the performance tests. The feature of this controller is it will allow the users to define the test scenarios and also it will allow us to manage the virtual user groups and also it will allow us to control the test execution. The next component that we need to know is LoadRunner Enterprise or Performance Center. So this is a SaaS version of your controller. The purpose of this particular LoadRunner Enterprise or Performance Center is to provide a centralized platform for managing the performance tests. Here also you are going to do the test execution setup as well as you can execute the tests through this LoadRunner Enterprise or Performance Center. And the features of this is it facilitates the collaboration as well as integration with other testing tools. And the next component is analysis. So the purpose of this particular component is to analyze the test results to identify the performance issues. And the features that it is going to offer is it offers the comprehensive reporting and metrics to assess the performance of the application under the load conditions. The last key component of the LoadRunner is the load generator. The purpose of this load generator is to simulate the user load and to distribute the user load and also to replicate the real user behavior. And coming to the features of this, it is going to support us to run that load test from different machines and from different geographical locations. With this basic idea of all the key components of LoadRunner, we'll now try to jump into the LoadRunner architecture and we'll try to understand how the architecture is. This is the LoadRunner architecture. Here, all the components of LoadRunner are arranged in a proper way so that it can send the request to the server, which is going to imitate the real user behavior, right? Now we'll try to understand each and every component wise details with an example, right? So let us say if you are working on an e-commerce application, then if you are trying to record some specific flows in an e-commerce application, then you are going to take help of this VUgen and you are going to record that particular flow with the help of VUgen and you are going to enhance that particular flow. Finally, after validating that particular flow, you are going to move this particular script from the VUgen to the controller or LoadRunner Enterprise or Performance Center for doing the test execution setup as well as the test execution. And during the time of test execution setup in the controller or LRE or Performance Center, we are going to attach the load generators. So these load generators will help us to simulate the real user behavior, like how in real time users are accessing the application from different geographical locations and how users are sending the request to the server from different machines, right? So the same kind of behavior is going to be handled by this load generators. Once the test got triggered in the controller or performance center or LRE, then immediately that message is going to activate these load generators and these load generators will start sending the request to the server and your server is going to respond back and that response is going to be stored in the load generators. Once the test execution is completed, then all these load generators will gather the captured request as well as responses from the server and that result file is going to be sent to the analysis stage. In the analysis stage, we are going to take that result file and we are going to start doing the analysis here. And we'll try to understand the bottlenecks especially, right? So we'll look into the response times, we'll look into the hits per second, we'll look into the throughput and how the throughput is there with respect to response times. So these kind of things we are going to look over here, and finally after doing the analysis we can generate the report with the help of this analysis here. This is what on a high level the LoadRunner architecture is. Now let us try to install the LoadRunner current version, that is 2024.3 version. Let's first download the LoadRunner. In order to download the LoadRunner, we need to open the browser and we need to go for the OpenText site, OpenText LoadRunner site. And this is the site. So just click on this link. It will redirect you to the homepage of that particular site. Wherein you are going to see the option called get a free trial. Just click on the get a free trial option. And here it is going to ask us to create an account here. So here we need to create the account by providing all the details, right? And one major thing here is you need to provide either your business email or student email. So to which one verification link is going to be sent. And once after verifying that particular link, it will take like a minimum of 24 hours, okay, for you to get the download link of this free trial version. So once after getting that download link, you can download the LoadRunner through this particular site. So I have already done that download and I kept that in on my desktop, right? So this is the LoadRunner current version, that is 2024.3 version, okay, and it's a community edition. So here, after downloading this file, if you want to install it, just try to install this as an admin. Okay, just select that file and right click on that and just try to install this as an admin, so that in future you won't get any kind of issues here. So once after clicking on run as administrator, it will take some time to initialize this particular file and to run this particular file. So let's wait. Now you are going to get this pop-up, right? Once after getting this pop-up, you just click on the next option, right? Here by default, it is going to store the data in under the C drive under the temp folder. If you want to change this particular folder, you can change it. But what I suggest is don't change anything, just click on next. Right, once if you click on next, it is going to extract the installation files into that particular temporary folder, and once the extraction process is done, then it will start doing the installation process. Okay, let's wait for the extraction process. If you see, now the extraction process is done. Now it is going to ask us to install this softwares. Okay, so in order to make this particular roadrunner to run on your machine, you need to have these softwares, especially this Microsoft Visual C++ version on your machine, right? If that is not there, then your loadrunner tool itself will ask us to install that. Just click on OK, so that it will install the respective softwares which are required for the loadrunner installation purpose. So now it is installing the Microsoft Visual C++, and once that is done, right, the final LoadRunner installation part will begin. If you see, now the installation process is starting here. Once after getting this pop-up, we need to select, by default the option got selected is LoadRunner. We need to go with the default option, right? So and then click on next. And here we need to select I accept the terms in the license agreement and then click on next. And here in which particular folder you want to store this LoadRunner. So by default, it is going to store in program files x86, and under the open text folder, under the LoadRunner folder, all the files related to this LoadRunner is going to be installed, right? I'm just going with the default option and then I'm clicking on next. Once after clicking on next, it is going to allow us to install this LoadRunner. Just click on the install button. Now the installation process is going to start, right? So this will take some time to install, like based on your RAM capacity, right? If you are having like some 16 GB RAM, the installation process will be somewhat quick. If you are having like 8 GB RAM, then it is somewhat slow. Again, if you are having like less than 4 GB or 4 GB, then it will take much time to install here. So first it is going to validate the installation process, and then it is going to start doing the installation process here. In the middle of your installation part, it is going to show you this kind of pop-up wherein you need to select both public and private checkboxes, and you need to provide the allow access. Otherwise, your Windows Defender firewall will block this particular LoadRunner agent process, and this will create issue at the time of using the LoadRunner. So once after clicking on the allow access, then this is going to be the final pop-up that you're going to see, wherein it is going to ask the options called choose an existing certificate or generate a certificate automatically, but we don't need this part. So just uncheck this checkbox and then click on next. Once if you have done that, right, your installation process is done, right? If you want to read the file, right, readme file, then you can click on this option. Otherwise you can uncheck this and click on the finish, right? So once the installation process is done, then go to your desktop, and in your desktop you need to see these three icons. Okay, three components icons you need to see here. So the first one is the virtual user generator, and the second one is the controller, and the third one is the analysis, right? So these three components you need to see on your machine, right? So with this, our load runner installation part is also done, right? So that's all for this session, guys. So let's try to connect in a new session with a concept called recording process with the load runner, right? So if you like my video, please do share and subscribe to my channel. Thanks.